Jesus, Howie, all I said was this young man gets a little physical with his hands down the field. And I said he was on a futures contract. That doesn't mean go and cut him, Roseman. What the? All right, y'all. Hey, roster moves are being made. We're living in the time of COVID-19, apparently. And yeah, there's a lot to dive into, guys. So let's get it. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this, guys. Once again, my name is Steven Hyder, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. Wow, today's topic, guys. Hey, listen. Mike said something that was kind of funny. We were talking back and forth yesterday, and he was like, dang, Steve, bro, like a player being reviewed by you can be a death sentence, can it? I don't know what's going on, guys. I will admit, the Eagles cutting Trevor Williams before camp even started. Yeah, I said that, guys, we weren't invested in this kid. But I thought they would at least give him training camp to prove himself. My gut instinct here, and I know that Trevor Williams has a large following, guys. I mean, there was a pretty big part of our fan base that straight up believed this kid was going to win the battle in camp. I thought the kid looked decent in 2017 on film. When I broke down film of him when he was healthy, I thought the kid had pretty good footwork. I thought he was really physical at the line of scrimmage. Loved to get his hands on players. I thought he was definitely a boundary corner. Wow, I didn't, my only thought here is I'm assuming Trevor Williams was not healthy still. Something must not have been right for them to make this move before camp even started, really. I mean, we just have the rookies reporting yesterday. Like, it's a little weird for me to think that, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, he has to have been still banged up a little bit, guys. That's the only reason I can think of to why the Eagles would make that kind of decision. Past Trevor Williams, guys, it also came down that they let go of Keegan Reagan. I don't know how you say his name, guys. He was a center that we kind of had on our team for a little bit. I think we had him on the practice squad last year. That one doesn't shock me because we got a lot of guys that can move inside and play. I mean, I think that one's a pretty reasonable one, especially since, I think we signed that kid out of Western Michigan to the highest dollar amount for all the undrafted rookie free agents this year. So it would seem to me as if, obviously, like they were going to move on from guys that could also play that interior depth. I wouldn't be shocked. We already, Khalil Tate, we covered that. A lot of people thought that he could be, the next Greg Ward Jr. in training. Like, you got to give the guy a little bit of time, but if you develop the kid, he could be that kind of, dynamic football player. The one thing I will warn people is don't assume that the relationships are broken just because we see a cut here. Man, it could be November and we can turn around and sign these guys back to the practice squad for development. I mean, if you guys are really big fans of some of these people, it doesn't mean that relationship is completely severed. It just means that it accelerated faster than we thought. Now, let's get into why this is probably happening, guys. I think this is a pretty big conversation, right? Yesterday, when I saw that the roster was really taking down to 79, I was like, okay, 89. I thought to myself, like, maybe they're doing something like, you know what I mean, to kind of facilitate this in terms of, okay, like, we're freeing up a roster space. I mean, we know that Nigel Bratton has been linked to this organization for a long time. I felt like, hey, man, may not be the best linebacker out there, and he may have basically declined in age over time. His skill set's declined a little bit. But, I mean, he knows the system. At worst, he's a quality backup piece for the Eagles and someone who can kind of help get these young kids ready for getting them into the system. I always thought that Nigel Bratton's sticking point with the Eagles organization was mostly due to the fact that, it was a money issue. Like, I mean, he was due like $8 or $9 million. I just couldn't, like, when I made that video and I was making the projections and I told you guys, Peterson, I said, look, Jason Peters, probably gone. I said that, Nigel Bratton, probably gone. I was telling you guys that. And you guys remember that was way back. I told you guys that. I did that based upon the contracts. Just looking at the contracts, the age of the player, like the shaping of the roster, I was like, okay, look, they're not going to bring these guys back on these numbers. And I was right on them. This is what I'll say, though. Just like they brought Peters back because of the injury to Brandon Brooks, I would pay close attention to if Nigel Bratton's number starts coming down. Now, here's the thing. Other teams can quickly get involved if Nigel's number comes down, and they may offer a better opportunity. And that is, something we got to be aware of here. But as that number kind of comes down, I would pay attention to what's going on in camp, guys, because I do think that's a very logical signing. If you guys were to ask me, like, okay, if we're going to add players, because I think we're going to shrink this roster because of COVID-19, because of the altered offseason, guys, and because of how few reps we have, do I think that we're going to stick with, 90 guys in camp? No. I think, some of y'all have been hitting me up in the comments in the last video, and I appreciate you guys, man, because I said keep me informed. Hey, man, y'all answered the call. You kept me really informed. I didn't even need to turn on the news. You guys were all over it for me. I think what's going to happen is, guys, they're going to keep shrinking this roster because you got to look at it from the organization standpoint, which is why waste reps on guys on a shortened offseason, right? When we need to get the guys that we think can actually contribute and the guys that we really need to get a look at to see if we want to put them on the back end of the roster in the practice squad, we need to get those guys reps. We don't need to waste reps on other guys. Generally speaking, the reason we bring in other guys that probably don't have a legitimate shot at making the roster is, when you have a longer offseason, you don't want to expose your starters. You want to expose key players to injury. So you bring in guys to help you fill out the role to do things. Well, that's not going to be necessary now. And I think that's having a pretty big impact on this roster. And if you guys remember a couple of videos, I did say that if we shorten the roster because of COVID-19 concerns, I was really concerned about what happens, with some of these younger guys. Because, you go from 90 to 80, that's 10 players. And I saw earlier reports that said that they might go all the way, down to 75. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but you think about how many people that can encompass. You can have guys that, if you gave them an opportunity, maybe you're not high on them right now, but the minute they touch that football, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, whoa, like, man, we definitely should be giving this kid a closer look. Now, yes, Charles, I said kid. Now, guys could be cut that would have otherwise really had a chance to turn heads in camp. My question is, how far does this reach? How far does this go, guys? Might we start losing players that could be real contributors? There's a couple of guys I want to see in camp. I would love to see the Eagles try to clear some of these guys through waivers for the practice squad, because I think a couple of these dudes, they need development, but I honestly think they can be something in the league. Adrian Killins is one. He's a little undersized, guys. I know there's been reports he added a couple of pounds, but I'm going to be real with you. He's starting at 160, so even if he added 10 pounds of muscle, he's still pretty light. But with that said, man, Adrian Killins could be a dynamic returner. That's a guy I don't want to hear gets cut as a result of these roster spaces being reduced. I honestly think that's a kid you want to give an opportunity in camp. Maybe even possibly on a special teams role making it. But certainly I would love to see the kid be able to get into our strength and conditioning program and actually get and build an NFL-ready body. Another kid that would bother me right now because of a lack of opportunity, a lack of snaps, all this kind of stuff that could be, one of these cut-down casualties. Manasseh Bailey. Manasseh Bailey, I'm super high on, guys. Manasseh Bailey is a football player I would love to see make the practice squad here. This is a kid that I think has a tremendous upside. A lot of people don't know about him because he played at Morgan State, but I'm telling you, Morgan State was horrible in football last year. Just ask Charles Smith, guys. He lives in the area. I'm pretty sure he got to watch plenty of Morgan State football. I'm here to tell you, as bad as Morgan State was, as little publicity as HBCU schools will receive at times, if you go turn on film on Manasseh Bailey, he catches your eyes immediately. This kid, I don't know how tall he is because, my God, the reports, have really wavered. You got some places listing him officially as 6'2". You got other places that measured him and said he's more like 5'11", 6 foot. I don't care how big the kid is. I can tell you this kid could play the boundary. He could be a boundary receiver. He could be a split end, an X receiver, guys. He's physical. He's strong. He's got good hands. He's fast. This kid, he's another one that I don't know what he runs in terms of his 40 time, but just turn the film on this kid and just watch him separate. He separated from really good defenses, including Army, which was a top 5 pass defense last year, and he burnt them, I think, twice for touchdowns. There are guys on this roster that I fear could be caught up in this. And I'm trying to legitimately think in my head, if we're going from 90 to 80, we already cut down 3 guys now. Okay? You got the Reagan, whatever his kid name is, that kid's gone. You got, Khalil Tate, and you got, now Trevor Williams. So I'm trying to think in my head, like, who could it be? Because there's, like I said, there are 3 or 4 guys I would love to see kind of get an opportunity here. Adrian Killins, Manasseh Bailey. I would definitely say that Riley, the kid from Army, he's kind of a corner/safety type. I would love to see this kid get an opportunity, right? The other guy I would love to see get an opportunity is Grayland Arnold. Grayland Arnold, I think, is going to be a really good camp story, guys, because he's not the biggest guy, but he's versatile, guys. This is a safety, nickel, kind of like he's a competitor. He's athletic, but he's not like a super athlete. He's just really instinctual. He's a kid, like, give the kid shots, man, because this kid could either make our roster on a surprise move, or I could see him making the practice squad and being a developmental piece that comes up in the future. Because we're going to have to get real young and real cheap real soon, guys. That's just the truth of this. Some other guys outside of that I liked. The kid from the University of Louisiana Lafayette. He's a corner over there. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, guys. I apologize, but big kid, strong kid. He's like 6'2". He played at University of Louisiana Lafayette. If you go watch the App State, sorry, that's what that little background noise was you just heard there. Go watch the App State versus Louisiana Lafayette Sun Belt Championship game, and you can see this kid get used in multiple ways. I'm just scared that we could definitely end up losing a lot of players that, honestly, giving a fair shake at things, could honestly be contributors. Look at the kids that we got along the defensive line. Are we going to make a stupid mistake there and let one of these guys go? Raequan Williams, who I think deserves a look, right? I mean, God help us if we do something really stupid along the line and let someone go that honestly has real value, because that would really tick me off, guys. I'm not going to lie. And I'm just wondering how far this thing's going to spread, guys, how much it's going to happen here, because you got guys like Bruce Hector along the line that, would Bruce Hector be a casualty? But he's been with the system for a long time, and we're on a shortened season to where guys that are familiar with the system probably are going to get a leg up on other guys. And that's kind of the other aspect to this, which is the role that guys who have experience inside the system will get to play, because they're going to get an unfair advantage over the rest of the competition. And, you got guys like Anthony Rush, who I hope he's not a cap casualty as a result of this crap, because Anthony Rush, he's got some reps in the system now, and the kid he's a dancing teddy bear, guys. He's really talented. These are my thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me, okay, I think we all kind of get the hunch now that going from 90 to 80 is definitely probably going to happen. We might free up a roster space for a veteran guy like a Nigel Bratton. I could see that, a signing like that. Maybe go get a defensive end if we're not happy in camp. You can even look to corner if we just... Trevor Williams wasn't right, and these other guys just don't look like they're winning the jobs. I can see us going and getting a kid like, what was his name, Ryan Logan or whatever. I could see us signing him. I could see something like that kind of being down the line, but I don't think that's the main reason why this is happening. I think it's to shorten and limit the amount of snaps that some of these guys are getting and taking away from other players. I think that we have to be careful. I named some guys that I want to see. So what I want you guys to do for me, guys, is tell me down below who are some of the players that you would like to see on this team getting an opportunity that you don't want to see be a part of that cap hit, or not cap hit, but that cut down because of COVID-19. Leave your comments down below. Let me know the guys that you think will be cut. If you got an idea of like, hey man, we got 7 more guys. These are 7 guys I think are probably going to get the axe. Leave it down below, guys. I'm not going to dare venture into that personally. I just think there's too much into it, and it's hard to really predict that, but I would be really interested to read your guys' thoughts on it, because it would be interesting to see where everybody is on it and who we think it'll be. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. You know we end these videos. E-A-G-L-E-S. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.